Hello, friends. My name is Henry. Today, we're going to be talking about AWS certification path for a data engineer. Some, you know, some friends and colleagues they requested for this video because you know some people like AWS, but in AWS there's no specific certification for data engineering. Unlike like in GCP, that's Google Cloud Certification, they have a specific one for you know data engineer. But in AWS, we don't have anyone that goes by the name, maybe like something like AWS Certified, data engineer. We don't have that, in AWS. But there are certifications that are very relevant, to data engineering, big data processing in AWS, you know, and we are going to be talking about this too, in this short video. So if we look at the available AWS certifications, it's grouped into foundational, professional, associate, and specialty. Under foundational, you have the cloud practitioner. Then under associate, you have the solution architect, the developer, and the system sysops or administrator. Then under professional, you have the solutions architect, you have the DevOps engineer. Then under specialty, you have the advanced networking, data analytics, database, machine learning, security, SAP on AWS. So those are some of the available certifications on AWS. Now, there's a problem for especially not only for data engineers, for so many people who want to learn AWS and gain certification. There's this question of which certification should I choose. Because there are lots of certifications. Sometimes you don't know which one to choose. You don't know which one where to start from. You're not sure of which path to follow. So we'll try to, hopefully by the end of this video, we'll try to clear some of the doubts we have and try to answer some of these this question. So first of all, we'll do an overview of certifications relevant to data engineers. So among the certifications, there are some that are relevant to data engineers. From the foundational group, the AWS Certified Practitioner, we identified that one. Under the associate, we identified the AWS Certified Solution Architect and the AWS Certified Developer. Under professional, we identify the AWS Certified DevOps Engineer. Then under specialty, we identify the AWS Certified Data Analytics and the AWS Certified Database and the AWS Certified Machine Learning. Now we're going to take them, drill down into some of these relevant certifications to see what you will learn while preparing for those certifications, how what you learn is relevant to data engineering, and what the certification is all about. So we're going to talk about it, starting from the first one, the AWS Cloud Practitioner. This shows your understanding of AWS and cloud terminologies in general, and is recommended as a starting point. So, especially if you are new to IT, you are new to cloud technology, it is recommended to start from the AWS Cloud Practitioner. And while preparing for these exams, what will you learn? You will learn the basic understanding of IT services and their uses on the AWS cloud. You also learn about the core AWS services and use cases, billing and pricing models, security concepts, and how cloud impacts your business. So those are some of the things you're going to be learning. So irrespective of whether you're a data engineer or a software developer or you want to be a cloud architect, this is the recommended place for everyone to start from. Now let's talk about the AWS Certified Solution Architect. This showcases your knowledge and skill of a wide range of AWS services. So this certification it focuses on the design of cost and performance optimized solutions and demonstrating a strong understanding of AWS well architected framework. So, and what will you learn? Some of the things you will learn before going for this certification or while studying for it. One, you learn about compute, networking, storage, and databases. You also learn about deploying, managing, operating workload on AWS, as well as implementing security control and compliance requirements. You will learn about AWS management consoles and AWS command line interface, security services, and the AWS global infrastructure. You also learn about the ability to identify which AWS services meet given technical requirements and to define technical requirements for an AWS based application. So these are some of the things you will learn while studying for the certified solution architect. Then the next one is this AWS certified developer. This showcases your knowledge and understanding of core services, basic AWS architecture best practices, proficiency in developing, deploying, debugging cloud-based applications using AWS. So, what are some of the things you're going to learn while studying for this? You will learn the core AWS services, basic AWS architecture best practices, including AWS shared responsibility model, application lifecycle management, and the use of containers in a development process. You also learn about developing, deploying, debugging cloud-based applications using AWS and writing code for serverless applications. You also learn about the use of AWS Service APIs, AWS CLI, and SDK to write applications. By the way, AWS has SDKs for different applications, for different programming languages. In Python, it's called Boto3. That's the AWS SDK. With that, you can communicate with AWS APIs. So you also learn about the use of cloud native applications to write code. You also learn how to auto, maintain, and debug code modules on AWS. So, okay, let's some of the services, main services you will learn while studying for this certification are API Gateway, AWS Lambda, Elastic Beanstalk, Step Functions, SNS, SQS, and Event Bridge. Those are some of the main services you will learn while studying for AWS Certified Developer. Let's go to the AWS Certified DevOps Engineer. This shows your expertise in provisioning, operating, managing distributed application systems on AWS platform. So what will you learn? You will learn about the software development lifecycle automation, CI/CD pipelines, that's continuous integration and continuous delivery pipelines, source control, testing, build, and manage artifacts, deployment, delivery strategies. You also learn about configuration management and infrastructure as code. You also learn about monitoring and logging. Those are some of the things, maybe using like CloudWatch and things like that for monitoring. So there are a lot of services you will learn here. We have the AWS code pipeline, the code commit, AWS code deploy, and things like that. Now there are alternatives. So if you don't want to, study, learn about these AWS services for, maybe you don't want to go for the certification for AWS Certified DevOps Engineer. You can, there are open source alternative to those, services. Like in AWS, you have AWS Code Build. An open source alternative is Jenkins. For AWS Code Commit for code repository, you can use Git and GitHub. So there are alternatives you can use instead of using going for AWS Certified DevOps Engineer. So it depends on you. It depends on if you want to work with open source tools or you want to cloud native tools, AWS cloud native tools. Now we have the another one we'll talk about is the AWS Certified Data Analytics. The exam validates candidates' comprehensive understanding of how to use AWS services to design, build, secure, and maintain analytic solutions that provide insights from data. The exam also validates candidates' ability to complete the following tasks: define AWS analytics services, understand how they integrate with each other. Now, speaking about how these AWS services integrate with each other, that means you need to understand, some of the core AWS services and understand how to architect on the cloud. Explain how AWS analytics services fit in the data lifecycle of collection, storage, processing, and visualization. So, some of the core AWS services you will learn while studying for this certification are the S3 storage, the Amazon EMR, that's Elastic Map Reduce, is Amazon's version of Spark. Redshift is a data warehouse. Athena, AWS Glue, that's for data transformation. AWS Kinesis for capturing, extracting stream data. AWS RDS, that's relational database. DynamoDB, AWS Lambda, and QuickSight, that is for visualization. QuickSight used for visualization, AWS. We also talk about the AWS Certified Database. This exam validates a candidate's comprehensive understanding of databases, including concepts of design, migration, deployment, access, maintenance, automation, monitoring, security, and troubleshooting. The exam also validates candidates' ability to complete the following tasks: understand and differentiate the key features of AWS database services, analyze needs and requirements to design and recommend appropriate database solutions by using AWS services. So what you will learn about database design, database deployment and migration, management and operation of database solutions, database security, monitoring and troubleshooting. Then some of the databases you're going to learn are Amazon Aurora, Amazon Document DB. That's Amazon's version of MongoDB, and it's compatible with MongoDB. Amazon DynamoDB is a key value pair database in Amazon. You have Amazon DynamoDB Accelerator, Amazon Elastic Cache, Amazon Neptune, Amazon Quantum Ledger database, and others you're going to learn. AWS Certified Machine Learning. This certification validates expertise in building, training, tuning, and deploying machine learning models on AWS. The exam also validates candidates' ability to complete the following tasks: select and justify the appropriate ML approach for a given business problem, identify appropriate AWS services to implement ML solutions, design and implement scalable, cost-optimized, reliable, and secure ML solutions. What you will learn: data engineering, exploratory data analysis, modeling, machine learning implementation, and operations. So, when it comes to machine learning, some of the machine learning services on AWS you will learn are Amazon Comprehend, which is used for text, natural language processing in AWS. I have deep learning, you know, models. You have Amazon Focus, Amazon for Detector, Amazon Lex, Amazon Poly, Amazon Recognition, and so many others. I will not forget Amazon SageMaker. So these are some of those services that relate, with machine learning you will learn here. Now, we've talked about, those certifications that are relevant, but there are certifications that are very core to data engineering, which I call the core data engineering certifications. These core certifications are the data analytics, machine learning, and database. These are the three core. But the thing is that as a beginner, it's not easy to jump straight into these ones, to do the certification. You need to learn other ones before you get to this one. And also, when you want to architect a solution, because if you want to build a database on AWS, it won't stand on its own. It has to, interact with other services. So you understand. So you need these things to work together, build, architect solutions in the cloud. So first of all, let's look at a logical architect of a modern data processing pipeline. Because for a data engineer, in a nutshell, the main job of a data engineer is to build, design, and deploy data processing systems and pipelines. So if we look at this, we will look at here. If we look at here, we can see first of all you start from the data source. So from your data source, that is where you extract your data. It could be streaming data, it could be batch data, it could be structured, it could be unstructured. So you ingest your data. So after ingest your data, you go to data processing, where you process, where you validate your data, transform your data. You can also catalog your data, do data cataloging. So then you consume your data. So you have here like a data lake where you can store your raw data in a data lake, and clean your data and curate your data. So also there are other AWS services there for security and governance. So this is how these things tie together. So this is a data pipeline architecture based on a serverless and managed services. You can see how all different AWS services, they tie together. So if you maybe only how to use one database in AWS, you won't be able to build solutions because these things they tie together is a pipeline. So you should be able to tie them together. So that means you need understanding of so many other AWS services by taking other certifications before coming to this one. So if you look at this, you can see so many under the ingestion part. You can see so many services you use there for ingestion. Under data processing, you see different services like the Glue, Amazon AWS Glue, AWS EMR. Under cataloging, you have lake formation. You see under consumption, you have QuickSight, you have Redshift, Athena. You know, so this is how they tie together. Now, but you can see it, we can start this very simple. It doesn't have to be complex. We can start simple like we have this in this architecture here. This is a simple architecture where we can start simple and begin to add you know, other services, as the need arises. So, which part? So this is going to tell us about the path, recommended path to follow to become an AWS data engineer. You can start with cloud practitioner, then move to solution architects and developer. Then you do some DevOps because as a developer, if you are developing, you need some, some operations. You need to do some operations like, using Jenkins, using GitHub, repos, and things like that. So from there, you now move to the core data engine, as services related to data engineering, where you take certifications such as data analytics, database, and machine learning. So you move from your left to your right. So learning resources. There are a lot of places where you can learn about AWS Cloud, such as Cloud Academy, Coursera, Udemy, AWS Skill Builder, LinkedIn Learning, A Cloud Guru, and even YouTube, like we're doing now. So there are lots of places you can learn. So I hope this short video will be helpful to you, to those who are confused, they are not sure as a data engineer, what are you going to learn on AWS? I hope this helps you. And thank you very much for listening. Please don't forget to subscribe to our channel and also please like my video. Thank you very much.